The sky over New Dakota burned orange as the alien ships entered the atmosphere. Private First Class Sam Miller watched from his guard post at the edge of the mining colony. His hands tightened around his rifle. This wasn't a drill. Miller, "You're asked to command now," crackled his radio. The voice of Sergeant Powell was tense but steady. Sam ran through the dusty streets of the colony. People were already rushing to shelter. Most of them were miners and their families, not soldiers. The colony only had 36 military personnel assigned to it. New Dakota was supposed to be a peaceful outpost. Inside the small command center, soldiers gathered around screens showing the massive ships in orbit. Sam had never seen anything like them. The vessels were curved like the shells of some strange sea creature, dark purple with glowing blue lines running along their hulls. "Listen up," said Captain Garcia. "At 0600 hours, these ships entered our space. They're calling themselves the Vorzak Imperium." She pointed to an image on the main screen. Sam felt his stomach tighten. The alien was tall, at least 7 feet, with gray-blue skin covered in what looked like natural armor plates. Its 4 eyes were set in a face that reminded him of a predatory insect. "They've demanded immediate surrender of the colony," Garcia continued. "United Earth Alliance Command has ordered us to hold position while they dispatch reinforcements. But the nearest battle group is 4 days out." 4 days, someone whispered. Against that, Garcia's face hardened. "Our job is to protect these civilians until help arrives. The Vorzak have given us 1 hour to surrender before they begin landing troops." "What do we know about their capabilities, ma'am?" asked Sergeant Powell. "Not much. This is humanity's first contact with them. Intelligence suggests they've conquered multiple species and incorporated them into their military structure." Sam felt the weight of what was happening. First contact with an alien species, and it was hostile. The room fell silent. "We have limited anti-aircraft capabilities, but we can make use of the mining tunnels and the terrain," Garcia said. "We're going to make these aliens work for every inch of ground." An hour later, Sam was positioned in a makeshift bunker on the northern ridge. The Vorzak had rejected their request for more time. The invasion was beginning. "First wave incoming," warned the spotter. At least 20 dropships. The colony's defense systems activated. Missile batteries fired into the sky. 2 alien craft exploded in flames, but the rest continued their descent. The dropships landed in a clearing about a mile from the colony perimeter. Sam adjusted his scope and watched as the doors opened. Aliens poured out in ordered formations. They wore armor that gleamed in the sunlight and carried weapons that hummed with energy. "Hold fire until they're in range," ordered Powell over. The comm. Sam counted his breaths like he'd been taught in training. In, out, in, out. The aliens advanced with confidence, not bothering with cover. They clearly expected minimal resistance. "Fire!" Human weapons erupted from multiple positions. Sam targeted an officer-looking alien and squeezed the trigger. The alien stumbled as the round hit its shoulder armor but didn't fall. Sam fired again, adjusting his aim for the joint between armor plates. This time the alien dropped. The Vorzak returned fire. Energy bolts sizzled through the air, melting rock where they hit. They seemed shocked at the organized resistance. "They didn't expect us to fight back so effectively," Powell said with grim satisfaction. For 6 hours, Sam's unit held the ridge against waves of Vorzak troops. The aliens had superior technology but seemed to lack tactical flexibility. When their frontal assaults failed, they simply tried again with more troops rather than changing approach. By nightfall, the human defenders had suffered casualties but still held their primary positions. Sam had moved 3 times, using the darkness to relocate after firing. His hands were blistered from the hot barrel of his rifle, and his ears rang from the constant explosions. "Miller, take these supplies to Bunker 3, Powell ordered, handing him a bag of ammunition and medical kits. Sam crawled through a drainage pipe that connected their positions, emerging behind a pile of mining equipment. He could hear Vorzak, patrols searching nearby, their strange language carrying through the night air. At Bunker 3, he found 4 soldiers and 6 civilian volunteers who had taken up arms. One soldier had a badly burned arm from an energy weapon. "How's it looking out there?" asked Private Lisa Chen as Sam distributed supplies. "We're holding, but they keep coming," Sam replied. helping her bandage the wounded soldier. "The captain says they're bringing in heavier units for tomorrow," Lisa said. They didn't expect humans to be so hard to kill. A civilian miner named Joe looked up from his borrowed rifle. "Is it true what they're saying? That these aliens have conquered whole worlds?" Sam nodded. "That's what Command told us." "Then how are we still standing?" Joe asked. "Because we're human," Lisa answered simply. "We adapt." On the second day, the Vorzak changed tactics. They deployed larger vehicles and flying drones. The human defenders used mining explosives to create traps and collapse tunnels to funnel alien forces into killing zones. Sam hadn't slept in 36 hours. He moved between positions, delivering messages when communications were jammed, helping the wounded and firing his weapon until it overheated. By the third day, the colony's perimeter had shrunk. They'd lost the northern ridge and 2 of the outer residential sectors. But the cost to the Vorzak had been enormous. The ground around the colony was littered with alien bodies and destroyed equipment. Sam found himself in the command center, again helping to move equipment as they prepared to fall back to their final defensive line. Captain Garcia looked exhausted but determined. "We just intercepted a Vorzak communication," she told the assembled soldiers. "Their commander is furious at their losses. Apparently, their intelligence told them humans would be easy to subjugate." A tired laugh rippled through the room. "They're calling for reinforcements," Garcia continued. "They can't believe a small group of what they call primitive humans is causing them so much trouble." Sam helped set up the new command post in an underground mining facility. The civilians were sheltered in the deepest tunnels. They had food and water to last another week if they were careful. "Miller," Captain Garcia called him over, "I need you to take this data drive to the emergency transmitter on the South Peak. Our main communications array was destroyed in the last bombardment." Sam nodded, taking the small device. "It's got all our tactical data and recordings of the Vorzak. If we don't make it, Earth needs to know what we're facing." The path to the South Peak meant crossing a section of open ground. Sam waited until a cloud bank obscured the moons before making his run. Halfway across, a patrol of Vorzak soldiers spotted him. Energy bolts sizzled past his head as he dove for cover behind a rock formation. Sam fired back, dropping one alien then another. But there were 5 of them, and only one of him. An energy bolt grazed his leg, burning through his pants and searing his skin. He bit back a scream. As the aliens closed in, Sam prepared to make his final stand. The data had to reach the transmitter. Suddenly, the night lit up with rifle fire from a different direction. The remaining Vorzak dropped to the ground, blue blood seeping from precise wounds. Sergeant Powell appeared from the shadows with 2 other soldiers. "Move, Miller. We'll cover you." Sam ran despite the pain in his leg, clutching the data drive. He reached the transmitter station and plugged in the drive. The indicator light turned green as the message began broadcasting on the emergency UEA channel. As dawn broke on the 4th day, Sam watched from a new position as the Vorzak assembled, their largest force yet. This would be the final push. The human defenders were down to 23 combat-effective personnel. "This is it," Powell said quietly beside him. "We've bloodied them good, but there's too many." Sam checked his ammunition. 3 magazines left. "At least we showed them humans don't go down easy." Powell was about to respond when their comms crackled to life. "All defenders, this is Captain Garcia. Hold position. I repeat, hold position. We have a priority transmission from UEA Command." Sam and Powell exchanged glances. Garcia's voice returned, and for the first time in 4 days she sounded hopeful. "The UEA has received our data. They're sending a special response team ahead of the main reinforcements. Designator, Delta Team, ETA, 2 hours. Hold your positions at all costs." Sam didn't know what a Delta Team was, but from the way Powell's expression changed, it was significant. "Who are they, Sarge?" Powell checked his weapon with renewed purpose. "The kind of soldiers that make even regular human troops look tame. If Delta's coming, those aliens are about to learn what deadly really means." The small stealth craft cut through New Dakota's atmosphere like a black knife. No radar detected it. No Vorzak sensor pinged its presence. It was a ghost, and its passengers were something even more dangerous. Inside the craft, Captain Laura Hayes checked her equipment one final time. Her dark combat suit hugged her body, designed to absorb light and mask heat signatures. The neural interface at the base of her skull hummed quietly as it synchronized with her team's tactical network. 2 minutes to drop, said Lieutenant Ben Carter from the pilot's seat. His hands moved across the controls with practiced precision. Unlike regular soldiers, his reflexes had been enhanced to process information 3 times faster than a normal human. Laura looked at her team. Each member of Delta was hand-picked and modified with the best technology Earth could provide. Modifications that were illegal for anyone except Special Forces. Review mission parameters, Laura said. Sergeant Kate Ryan checked her demolition kit. Colony under siege by unknown alien species designated Vorzak. Regular forces holding but outnumbered. Primary objective is to disrupt enemy command structure and create extraction window for civilians. Secondary objectives? Laura asked. Intelligence. Gathering on Vorzak capabilities, replied Specialist Eric Daniels. His cybernetic eye whirred softly as it adjusted focus. And field testing our capabilities against a new species. Medic Amy Martinez finished loading her specialized darts. Rules of engagement? Unrestricted, Laura answered. The Vorzak have made their intentions clear. We respond accordingly. Corporal John White, the team's infiltration expert, said nothing. He rarely spoke before missions. His attention was on the tactical display, already mapping entry points. The craft descended, rapidly toward a mountain range far from the main colony. Ben guided it into a narrow canyon before settling into a hidden cave. Deployed, he announced, powering down systems. No detection signatures. Laura stood. Move out. Formation Delta 6. They exited the craft in single file, each member carrying twice the weight a normal soldier could manage. The enhanced muscle density and carbon-reinforced bones allowed them to move swiftly despite their loads. Laura activated her comm unit. Delta Team to New Dakota Command. Authentication code Sierra Echo Foxtrot. We are on ground, Captain Garcia's tired voice responded. Authentication confirmed. Thank God you're here. We're down to our last defensive line. Send us your current positions and enemy deployment patterns, Laura requested. Transmitting now, Garcia replied. Be advised, we have a forward observation post that can link up with you. Sending coordinates. Laura viewed the data through her neural interface. Understood, we'll make contact. Delta out. The team moved through the rocky terrain at a pace that would exhaust normal soldiers. Their enhanced physiology allowed them to run for hours without tiring. 2 hours later, they approached the coordinates of the observation post. Laura signaled for the team to halt and go dark. John moved ahead invisibly, his adaptive camouflage bending light around him. He returned 5 minutes later. 3 humans, 1 wounded. Basic defensive position. No signs of compromise. Laura nodded. Eric, scan for electronic surveillance. Eric's fingers danced across his portable console. Clear. They approached the post openly. A young soldier with a bandaged leg spotted them first and raised his rifle before recognizing their uniforms. You're Delta? He asked in disbelief. Laura nodded. Captain Hayes, Delta Team, you're? Private First Class Sam Miller, he answered, lowering his weapon. This is Corporal Chen and Private Rodriguez. Laura assessed them quickly. All 3 looked exhausted, but their eyes were alert. They had the look of soldiers who had seen constant combat but hadn't broken. Regular human troops with exceptional resilience. Sam led them into a small cave where they had established their observation post. We've been tracking Vorzak movements for the past 12 hours. They're amassing for a final assault on the main colony. He showed them a crude but effective map he'd drawn. Their command structure is here. He pointed to a location where several Vorzak ships had landed. Their general is called Krazoth. We intercepted communications. Laura was impressed. Good work, Private. Sam looked at Delta Team with curiosity. If you don't mind me asking, what exactly is Delta? I've never heard of your unit. That's the point, Ben replied with a slight smile. Laura changed the subject. What can you tell us about Vorzak combat capabilities? Sam described the aliens' tactics, weapons, and physical abilities. They're strong, stronger than us. Their armor can take multiple hits from our standard rifles, but they're rigid in their thinking. They don't adapt well to changing situations. Amy examined Sam's leg wound. Energy weapon? Sam nodded. Burns, right through standard armor. Amy applied a small device to the wound. This will accelerate tissue regeneration. You'll be combat ready in an hour. Sam's eyes widened. That's not standard issue. Neither are we, Kate said, checking her explosives. Laura studied the map and the data from Colony Command. A plan was forming in her mind. What would you say is the Vorzak's biggest weakness, based on your experience? Sam thought for a moment. Arrogance. They don't think humans are a serious threat. Even after we've killed hundreds of them, they keep underestimating us. Laura smiled. Perfect. She gathered her team and outlined her plan. The regular soldiers listened with growing disbelief. That's impossible, Corporal Chen said. You can't infiltrate their command ship. Their security is designed to stop regular humans, John finished for her. We're not regular. Eric began hacking into the Vorzak communication network. His neural implants allowed him to process and translate alien data structures at incredible speed. I'm in their system. They have no concept of cybersecurity by our standards. Laura turned to Sam. We need a diversion. Can your colonial forces mount one more offensive? Sam nodded slowly. Captain Garcia was planning a last stand anyway. If it helps. It will, Laura assured him. Have her focus attacks on their southern flank in exactly 3 hours. Make it look desperate. It won't be an act, Sam said grimly. Laura placed a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes the best deceptions contain truth. But this time you're not fighting to delay defeat. You're fighting to enable victory. As night fell, Delta Team moved toward the Vorzak Command Center. Their enhanced vision allowed them to see perfectly in darkness. Each member moved with a purpose that bordered on preternatural. They encountered a Vorzak patrol near the perimeter. Before the aliens could react, Ben and Kate had neutralized them silently. No alarms were triggered. John studied the dead aliens' armor and weapons with professional interest. Impressive technology, but their tactics are primitive. Laura checked her tactical display. 1 hour until the diversion. Eric, status on their communications? I've planted false reports suggesting human reinforcements are approaching from the north, Eric replied. They're redirecting forces. The team continued toward the Vorzak command ship, a massive vessel that had landed to serve as the invasion headquarters. As they approached, they could see it was heavily guarded. 30 guards on visible patrol, John reported. Likely more. Inside. Laura nodded. Standard formation. Kate, prepare breaching charges for the lower maintenance hatch. Kate smiled. Already synthesizing them. The explosive will match their hull material to minimize detection. Amy checked her medical gear and combat darts. Toxins calibrated for Vorzak physiology based on preliminary scans. Laura opened a secure channel to the colony. Delta to command. Are your forces in position? Affirmative, Captain Garcia replied. Though I still think this plan is insane. The best ones usually are, Laura said. Execute on my mark. She looked at her team, these enhanced humans who represented the peak of what humanity could become. Then she thought of Sam and the other regular soldiers who had held out for days against overwhelming odds with nothing but courage and ingenuity. Vorzak think they know what humans are capable of, she said quietly. Let's show them how wrong they are. In the distance, explosions erupted as the colonial forces launched their attack. The Vorzak responded predictably, rushing forces to counter the threat. Laura watched the enemy guards thin out around the command ship. This is it. Delta Team, execute. And with that, 6 humans moved against an alien fortress that had never known defeat, carrying with them the future of a colony and the beginning of a legend. The Vorzak guard never saw what killed him. One moment he was standing at his post, the next a shadow moved and his life ended silently. Corporal John White caught the alien's body before it hit the ground and dragged it into darkness. Entry. Point secure, John whispered into his comm. Captain Laura Hayes and the rest of Delta Team converged on the position. Kate Ryan placed small devices on the maintenance hatch of the Vorzak command ship. The explosives were specially designed to cut through the alien metal without creating sound or light. Charges set, Kate said. 3, 2, 1. The hatch dissolved rather than exploded. A perfect circle of metal simply ceased to exist, leaving an entry point just large enough for a human to crawl through. Eric, you're up, Laura ordered. Specialist Eric Daniels connected his portable computer to the ship's systems through the opening. His cybernetic eye glowed faintly as data streamed directly into his enhanced brain. Security systems identified, he reported. Bypassing now. Their technology is advanced, but their programming is predictable. Inside the ship, alarm systems went dark. Surveillance devices stopped recording. The Vorzak continued their duties, unaware that their electronic eyes and ears had been blinded. We have a 20-minute window before their systems automatically reset, Eric said. Laura nodded. Move in, stay on mission. One by one, Delta Team entered the alien vessel. The interior was designed for beings larger than humans, with high ceilings and wide corridors. The lighting had a blue tint that cast strange shadows. Lieutenant Ben Carter took point, his enhanced reflexes ready to respond to any threat. Amy Martinez followed, her medical kit ready but her combat darts equally accessible. They encountered 2 Vorzak engineers near a junction. Before the aliens could react, Amy fired 2 darts with perfect accuracy. The Vorzak dropped instantly, paralyzed but conscious. What did you give them? Kate asked as they dragged the aliens into a storage room. A neurotoxin I synthesized based on Sam's description of their physiology, Amy replied. They'll be unable to move for about an hour, but they'll remain aware. Perfect for questioning if needed. Laura studied a holographic map Eric had projected. Command center is 2 levels up. We need to split up. Ben and John, find their weapons. Control. Kate and Amy, locate their engine room and place charges. Eric, you're with me. We're going after the general. The team separated, moving through the vessel like ghosts. Regular soldiers would have been detected immediately, but Delta Team's enhancements made them practically invisible. Their footsteps made no sound. Their heartbeats were controlled to prevent detection by thermal sensors. In the colony, Sam Miller fired his rifle from behind a collapsed building. The diversion attack was in full swing, and the Vorzak were responding with massive force. Captain Garcia had positioned her remaining troops to make it appear as if this was truly their last stand. Keep firing, Garcia ordered. Make them believe this is everything we have. Sam wondered how Delta Team was faring. The Special Forces soldiers had seemed almost inhuman in their capabilities and confidence. He fired again, taking down a Vorzak soldier, and silently hoped their faith in Delta wasn't misplaced. Inside the ship, Ben and John reached the weapons control room. 3 Vorzak technicians operated the stations. John activated his adaptive camouflage and seemed to vanish. Ben waited, counting silently. The technicians suddenly dropped one after another, thin wires retracting from their necks. John reappeared beside their bodies. Clear, he said. Ben sat at the alien console. His neural interface allowed him to make sense of the unfamiliar controls. Weapon systems accessed, disabling orbital bombardment capabilities. He worked quickly, inserting a small device Eric had prepared. Done. If they try to target the colony from orbit, their weapons will malfunction. Meanwhile, Kate and Amy reached the engine room. The space was enormous, filled with pulsing blue energy cores. These power readings are off the charts, Kate said, scanning the equipment. Their technology is decades ahead of ours. Amy placed sensors on various components. Taking samples for analysis. Earth will want to know everything about their tech. Kate carefully planted small explosives at key junctions. Charges set. If we need to disable the ship, one command will shut down their engines permanently. At the colony perimeter, a massive Vorzak transport landed. Doors opened to reveal a new type of alien soldier. These were even larger than the standard troops, with heavier armor and weapons that glowed with energy. Elite guards, Garcia said through the comm. They've called in their best units. Sam ducked as energy bolts melted the wall above him. They're taking us seriously now. In the command ship, Laura and Eric approached the bridge. Two heavily armored guards stood at the entrance. Laura signaled to Eric, who activated a small device. The guards suddenly clutched their heads as their communication implants emitted a piercing tone only they could hear. Laura moved in, striking with enhanced strength at weak points in their armor. The guards crumpled without raising an alarm. Bridge access granted, Eric said, bypassing the door security. They entered the command center of the Vorzak invasion force. General Krazoth stood at a central platform surrounded by officers. The general was imposing even for a Vorzak, standing 9 feet tall with ceremonial scars across his faceplates. Tactical update, Krazoth demanded from a subordinate. The humans continue their desperate attack, General. Our elite units have engaged. Victory is assured. These humans have proven more troublesome than expected, Krazoth growled. Admiral Volkrath will not be pleased with the delays. Laura and Eric remained hidden in the shadows near the entrance. Eric connected to the ship's communication systems and sent a signal to the rest of the team. Phase 2 initiated. Throughout the ship, lights flickered. Alarms blared briefly before going silent. Confusion spread among the Vorzak crew. What is happening? Krazoth roared. His officers rushed to consoles, trying to restore systems. None of them noticed the two humans, watching from the shadows. General, weapon systems are not responding. Engineering reports unexplained power fluctuations. Security systems are cycling between active and inactive states. Krazoth slammed his fist on a console. Is this some human trick? How could they affect our systems? At that moment, every screen in the command center changed to show the same image. A stylized delta symbol. What is this? Krazoth demanded. Laura stepped from the shadows, her weapon aimed directly at the general. The Vorzak officers froze in, shock at the sight of a human in their command center. A message, Laura said calmly. From humanity. Krazoth reached for his weapon, but Eric had already disabled the magnetic lock on its holster. The general's 4 eyes widened in surprise. Impossible, he said. No human could infiltrate this vessel. You're wrong, Laura replied. A normal, human soldier might have difficulty, but we are not normal soldiers. Around the ship, the rest of Delta Team had strategically positioned themselves at critical points. Ben controlled the weapons. Kate had wired the engines to her detonator. John had secured the security center. Amy had accessed the life support systems. In one coordinated strike, 6 humans had taken control of an alien warship, while its crew remained largely unaware. Who are you? Krazoth asked, a new emotion creeping into his voice. Fear. We are Delta, Laura answered. Remember the name. Your empire will be hearing it again. She raised her hand to her comm. Delta Team to all. Colony forces. The Vorzak command has been compromised. Stand by for new orders. In his defensive position, Sam heard the message and could hardly believe it. They had actually done it. Delta Team had taken over the enemy command ship. Around him, the elite Vorzak troops suddenly stopped their advance. Their coordinated attack fell into disarray as contradictory orders flooded their communication channels. Sam looked up at the massive alien ship hovering above the colony. For the first time in days, he felt something he had almost forgotten. Hope. General Krazoth stood motionless on the bridge of his command ship. 6 humans had done what entire alien armies had failed to do. They had defeated him. Not with overwhelming force, but with skills he could barely comprehend. What are your demands? The Vorzak general asked, his voice a low rumble. Captain Laura Hayes kept her weapon trained on him. First, you will order all your forces to stand down immediately. Krazoth hesitated. Laura didn't. Eric, show the general what happens. If he refuses, Specialist Eric Daniels tapped on his device. On every screen in the command center, images appeared showing Kate's explosives attached to the ship's engines. John at the security center with his finger on a purge control, and Ben with full access to the weapons systems. One command from me, Laura said, and this ship ceases to exist along with everyone on it. Krazoth stared at the images. You infiltrated my entire ship with just 6 soldiers? Special forces, Laura corrected. Now make the call. The general activated the communication system. All Vorzak units, cease combat operations immediately. Return to defensive positions only. Across the battlefield, the Vorzak troops halted their advance. Confusion spread through their ranks as they withdrew from the colony perimeter. Sam Miller watched in amazement as the alien forces pulled back. He had been fighting for days, expecting to die defending the colony. Now the enemy was retreating. What just happened? Asked a soldier next to him. Captain Garcia's voice came over the comm. Delta Team has control of the Vorzak command ship. Hold positions and tend to the wounded. This isn't over yet. Back on the command ship, Laura had forced Krazoth into a chair while Eric accessed the Vorzak communication network. I'm through their encryption, Eric reported. I can access their fleet communications. Good, Laura said. Send a message to their high command. Include everything we've learned about their operations and a recording of their general's surrender. Eric worked rapidly, his augmented brain processing information faster than any normal human could. Message ready. But there's more. I've found their fleet deployment plans. They have reinforcements coming, a full battle group. Laura considered. This. How long until they arrive? Approximately 6 hours, Eric replied. Laura opened a secure channel to the colony. Delta to Captain Garcia. We have control of the command ship, but enemy reinforcements are inbound. We need to prepare the colony for immediate evacuation. Understood, Garcia responded. But we have over 2,000 civilians. The evacuation ships were destroyed in the initial attack. Laura looked at Krazoth. Then we'll use theirs. The general's 4 eyes widened. You cannot pilot Vorzak vessels. The controls are genetically coded to our species. Laura smiled. Eric? Eric held up the general's severed hand, cleanly cut just above the wrist. Krazoth hadn't even noticed. The amputation, Amy's localized nerve blockers had ensured that. Genetic authentication acquired, Eric said, placing the hand on a scanner. I now have full access to all systems. Laura contacted the rest of her team. Ben, secure a path to the transport bay. Kate, rig remaining Vorzak vessels with remote. Detonation charges. John, download their complete tactical database. Amy, I need you back on the bridge. Sam and a group of colonial soldiers approached the command ship's landing area. Delta Team had informed them which entrance to use. The massive door opened to reveal Lieutenant Ben Carter. Private Miller, Ben greeted. Captain Hayes requested your assistance. Sam nodded, still in disbelief that their plan had worked. What do you need us to do? We're evacuating the colony using Vorzak transport ships, Ben explained. We need your teams to organize the civilians and guard the perimeter until everyone's aboard. Sam and his team spread out, establishing a defensive position around the entry point. Within minutes, the first group of civilians arrived, escorted by colonial soldiers. Inside the ship, Amy Martinez examined the severed Vorzak hand. Fascinating biology. Their cellular structure is incredibly dense, which explains their physical strength. Eric continued to extract data from the Vorzak systems. Their empire spans 12 star systems. They've conquered 6 other species, all of which they considered more challenging than humans. He looked up. Until now. Laura studied the tactical display. They're arrogant. That's why they sent a relatively small force to take our colony. They didn't expect resistance. Krazoth, now with a medical seal over his wrist, watched the humans with a mixture of rage and fascination. You are not like the others. You are modified. We're what humanity becomes when pushed, Laura replied. Your empire made a critical error thinking all humans were the same. Amy returned to the bridge. The first transport is loaded with civilians. Kate has prepared 4 ships. For evacuation, Laura nodded. Good. Begin the launch sequence for the first ship. She turned to Krazoth. You're coming with us. The United Earth Alliance will want to speak with you directly. Outside, Sam directed civilians toward the transports. The Vorzak troops maintained their distance, confused by the orders to stand down but unwilling to disobey their general. A young boy stopped beside Sam, looking up at the massive alien ship. "Are those the special soldiers everyone's talking about?" he asked, pointing to Ben and John, who were guarding the entrance. Sam nodded. "Yes, they're Delta Team." "They don't look different from you," the boy observed. Sam smiled. "That's what makes them special. You can't tell what they're capable of just by looking." On the bridge, Laura received an alert from her tactical system. "Eric, status on the Vorzak reinforcements?" Eric checked his display. 5 hours until arrival. 4 ships, including 1 dreadnought class. Laura made her decision. "Begin evacuation immediately. First transport launches as soon as it's fully loaded." The evacuation proceeded with military precision. Delta Team coordinated everything from the command ship. Ben and John secured the perimeter. Kate prepared each transport with minimal fuel and supplies needed to reach the nearest UEA outpost. Amy treated wounded civilians as they boarded. Eric manipulated the Vorzak communication network to prevent any warnings from reaching the approaching fleet. 4 hours later, 3 transports had already departed with most of the civilians. The final ship was nearly loaded. "Last transport almost ready," Sam reported from the loading bay. "All remaining civilians and military personnel are accounted for." Laura checked the tactical display. "The Vorzak reinforcements have increased speed. They'll be here in 30 minutes. She turned to Krazoth. "Your reinforcements are eager. They must be worried about you." The general said nothing, but his posture betrayed his concern. "Time to go," Laura ordered. "Eric, initiate the final protocol." Eric activated a sequence on his device. Throughout the command ship, small charges activated, destroying key systems without compromising the hull integrity. "All critical systems will fail 15 minutes after our departure," Eric confirmed. "The ship will be useless." Laura, Eric, and Amy escorted Krazoth to the final transport where the rest of Delta Team waited. Sam and Captain Garcia were the last colonial personnel to board. "Everyone's aboard," Garcia reported. "We're ready for launch." Laura nodded to Eric, who activated the launch sequence. The transport lifted off, joining a small convoy of Vorzak ships now under human control. From the viewport, they watched as the command ship grew smaller behind them. In the distance, they could see the approaching Vorzak reinforcements. "Will they follow us?" Sam asked. Laura shook her head. "They'll try to rescue their command ship first. By the time they realize what happened, we'll be long gone." Kate showed Sam her detonator. "Besides, if they do follow, we've left them some surprises." The transport accelerated away from New Dakota. Behind them, the Vorzak reinforcements arrived to find their invasion force in disarray, their general missing, and their command ship disabled. Sam looked at Delta Team with newfound respect. 6 Special Forces operators had accomplished what seemed impossible. They had saved an entire colony and dealt the Vorzak their first major defeat. "What happens now?" he asked Laura. "Now," she replied, "the real war begins." The Vorzak thought they knew what humans were capable of. Today they learned about our special forces. Tomorrow they'll learn what happens when humanity fights back with everything we have. As the transport jumped to faster-than-light speed, Sam realized he was witnessing the birth of a legend. Normal human soldiers had proven deadly enough to surprise the Vorzak, but these special forces, they were something else entirely, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, the Vorzak Empire was about to learn that very costly lesson. 6 months after the evacuation of New Dakota, Sam Miller stood at attention in the Grand Hall of the United Earth Alliance headquarters. The room was filled with military officials, government representatives, and the surviving colonists. Captain Garcia stood beside him, her uniform decorated with new medals. "For extraordinary courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds," said Admiral Ward, "I present the Colonial Defense Medal to all military personnel who served at New Dakota." Sam stepped forward when his name was called. The Admiral, pinned the medal to his chest. "Private First Class Miller, your actions during the invasion were especially noteworthy," the Admiral said. "Your reconnaissance provided crucial intelligence to our special response team." Sam nodded respectfully but felt a twinge of disappointment. Everyone knew that Delta Team had been responsible for the victory, yet there had been no public mention of them in any official reports. It was as if they had never existed. After the ceremony, Sam found himself alone in the observation deck overlooking Earth. The blue planet seemed peaceful from orbit, but he knew better now. The galaxy was filled with threats like the Vorzak. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said a voice behind him. Sam turned to see a man in a plain black uniform with no insignia. It took him a moment to recognize Lieutenant Ben Carter without his combat gear. "Ben?" Sam said in surprise. "I didn't expect to see any of you again." Ben smiled. "Officially, you're not seeing me now, but Captain Hayes thought you deserved some closure." Sam looked around. "Just you?" "The others are around, just not where you'd notice them. John's probably watching us right now from somewhere." Sam shook his head in amazement. "What happened after we reached the UEA outpost? Everything went classified and I was debriefed for a week." Ben leaned against the railing. "General Krazoth provided valuable intelligence. The Vorzak Empire is larger than we thought. 12 star systems, 6 conquered species incorporated into their military structure." "Are they planning another attack?" Sam asked. "No," Ben said. "Quite the opposite. 3 weeks ago they signed a non-aggression pact with the UEA, the first diplomatic agreement between our species." Sam was stunned. "Why would they do that?" "They seem determined to conquer us." Ben's expression became serious. "Because of what happened at New Dakota. Our intelligence indicates that the Vorzak High Command received detailed reports about the battle. They were disturbed by what they learned." He activated a small projector on his wrist. A document appeared in the air between them. Sam recognized the Vorzak writing style from his time monitoring their communications. "This is a classified Vorzak threat assessment that Eric recovered," Ben explained. "It analyzes human military capabilities based on the New Dakota incident." Sam read the translation with growing amazement. "Standard human infantry displays exceptional tactical adaptation, physical endurance, and combat effectiveness beyond all predictive models. Even without advanced technology, human soldiers fought with efficiency equivalent to Vorzak elite units." Ben scrolled to the next section. "Most concerning is the human military unit designated Delta. Assessment of their capabilities suggests genetic or technological enhancements previously unseen in any species encountered by the Imperium. A small team of 6 operators neutralized an entire command structure and disabled a warship. Similar infiltration of Vorzak homeworld defenses must be considered a possibility." The final section was highlighted in red. Recommendation: the human. Species is classified as an Omega-level threat. Direct military engagement is not advised. Pursuit of diplomatic solutions is imperative for the security of the Imperium. Ben turned off the projector. "The Vorzak have encountered dozens of species. We're the first they've classified as an Omega-level threat." Sam struggled to process this information. "Because of what happened at New Dakota. But we were losing until you arrived." "No," Ben said firmly. "You held out for days against a technologically superior enemy. Regular human soldiers fighting with basic weapons and sheer determination. What Delta Team did was impressive, but what you and the other colonists did was extraordinary. We just built on the foundation you created." A door opened at the far end of the observation deck. Captain Laura Hayes entered, also wearing a plain black uniform. "Lieutenant," she said to Ben, "we're being deployed. Admiral wants us ready in 30 minutes. Ben nodded. "Yes, Captain." He turned back to Sam. "It was good seeing you again, Private." Sam straightened and saluted. "Thank you, both of you, for everything." Laura approached Sam. "At ease, Private. In fact, it's Second Lieutenant Miller now, isn't it?" Sam was surprised. "How did you know?" "We keep track of promising talent," Laura said with a slight smile. "Your new posting is with the Advanced Tactical Response Division." Sam's heart raced. "Is that—" "Not Delta," Laura clarified, "but adjacent to our operations. Your experience at New Dakota makes you valuable, and your performance during the evacuation showed leadership potential. She handed him a small data chip. Report to this location in 2 weeks. The training will be challenging. Sam took the chip. I won't let you down, Captain. Laura's expression softened slightly. I know you won't. Delta operates in shadows, Miller. We don't get medals or public recognition. Our reward is knowing humanity survives because of what we do. Are you prepared for that kind of service? Sam thought about the colony, about the civilians they had saved, about the fear he had seen in Krazoth's eyes when he realized what humans were capable of. Yes, Captain, I am. Laura nodded. Good. Perhaps we'll work together again someday. She turned to leave, then paused. One more thing. The Vorzak aren't the only ones spreading stories about Delta Team. What do you mean? Sam asked. The other species conquered by the Vorzak have heard what happened. Some of them are beginning to resist their overlords, inspired by the story of 6 humans who defeated an invasion force. Laura's comm unit beeped. She checked it and frowned. I have to go. Remember, this conversation never happened. She and Ben left as quietly as they had arrived, leaving Sam alone with his thoughts and the data chip that would change his life. 2 months later, in a distant part of the galaxy, a Vorzak commander briefed his officers about a new mission. The planet Haraxis has requested our protection, the commander explained. They have valuable resources and fear human expansion in their sector. A young officer raised his hand. Commander, isn't Haraxis near the human border? After what happened at New Dakota? Those reports were exaggerated, the commander interrupted. One setback does not define an enemy. The humans caught us unprepared once. It will not happen again. As the briefing continued, none of them noticed the small maintenance drone in the corner of the room. Its camera focused on their tactical displays. Inside the drone, technology far beyond its apparent design was transmitting data to a stealth ship hidden in the planet's magnetic field. On that ship, 6 humans in black combat suits received the transmission. Confirmed, Eric said. The Vorzak are planning to establish a base on Haraxis despite the treaty. Laura nodded. Looks like they need another reminder of why humans are classified as an Omega-level threat. She opened a secure channel to UEA. Command. Delta Team to Control, we have confirmation of treaty violation. Requesting permission to proceed with Operation Mythmaker. The response came immediately. Permission granted. Remind them why we earned our reputation. Laura looked at her team. Ben checking his weapons, Kate preparing her explosives, John studying the base layout, Eric hacking into their systems, and Amy analyzing Vorzak biological data for weaknesses. Delta Team, she said, let's go make another legend. And somewhere in UEA headquarters, Second Lieutenant Sam Miller watched a classified report about unexplained Vorzak military setbacks and smiled, knowing exactly who was responsible. The Vorzak had learned an important lesson. Normal human soldiers were indeed deadly, but human special forces, they were the stuff of legends.